talk, I suppose.
Yes.
I'll just give it another couple minutes for whoever's joining.
Hi.
Hi, konnichiwa. Yes, just a gentle reminder for everyone to turn on their videos. Hi, arigatou gozaimasu. Hi, konnichiwa.
I have an issue with my camera, Sensei. It takes like a couple of weeks.
Konnichiwa.
Hi, I hope you've already informed the team because they'll
Yeah,
be
Sensei.
marking attendance based on that. Hi. Hi, konnichiwa. Hi, I'll do a very basic Jiko Shokai, self-introduction. Watashi wa Anuja desu. Nihongo no sensei desu. For today, I will be your substitute teacher as Padma Sensei is unavailable. And we will be looking at lesson 2 today. So I hope you've already brushed up a little bit with lesson 1. I think yesterday Sensei would have covered lesson 1, the basic grammar part. So the tools that you learned in lesson 1, we will be using it in lesson 2 as well. So it'll also be a kind of review for you. Hi. So 今日はよろしくお願いします。Yes. Hi. So without further ado, I'll just share my screen and we can get started. It's an interactive session, so I hope everybody is used to unmuting and reading out whatever is on the slide and pitching in as we go. Yes.
Hi, Sensei.
Hi.
Hi.
Great. Let me share my screen. Is it visible for everyone? I hope it's clear.
Yeah.
Hi, Sensei.
Hi.
Okay, great. Hi. So in lesson 1, you learned all about Jiko Shokai, introducing yourself to other people. So I hope you have an idea of how that goes. Maybe we'll do a very small recap. What is the very first thing we do when we do Jiko Shokai?
Greetings.
Greetings.
Greeting.
Conference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Greeting in Japanese, it's called
Aisatsu.
Aisatsu. Hi, exactly. Aisatsu is greeting. It's a generic term, of course. Specific greeting that we give, it depends on the time of day, right? So in the morning, if you meet someone, you can say
Konnichiwa. Gozaimasu.
morning.
Ohayo gozaimasu.
Ohayou gozaimasu.
Ohayo gozaimasu.
Ohayou
So this, exactly. Ohayo gozaimasu. If you meet them anytime during the day, right? When the sun is up and it's daytime, we can say
Konnichiwa.
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 And evening, we can say
Konbanwa.
konbanwa. Exactly, konbanwa. So depending on the right time of day, we can give the appropriate greeting. After the greeting, what is the first thing we say? You're meeting someone for the very first time.
Hajimemashite.
Hajimemashite.
So desu ne. Hajime
Mashite.
Hajimemashite. I'm meeting you for the first time. Pleased to meet you. And then after that, we can give information like our own name, watashi wa so-and-so desu, whatever your name is, and some other information like what you're doing, studying Japanese. For now, the grammar, the vocabulary is a little limited. like I'm a Japanese student, I'm a Japanese this thing and all that, teacher and all that. But little by little, we're going to increase the vocabulary for this. So in lesson 2, we're going to learn some vocabulary for different kinds of jobs, different kinds of occupations. So you can also fit that into your self-introduction. After you introduce your name and your job, at the end of the self-introduction, what do we say?
Yes.
Yoroshiku.
Dozo yoroshiku
Onegaishimasu.
onegaishimasu.
So this name, dozo yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Onegaishimasu.
We say, it's like, please take care of me, right? Please take care of our relationship. It's a bit weird to translate directly into English, but it's a very important Japanese custom, right? You're entrusting something that is yourself in someone else's hands. So this is self-introduction. Lesson 2 is going to be all about introducing other people, right? So say you go to a gathering, it's not just yourself that you will introduce. You may introduce your juniors or your seniors at work to somebody from another company, if it's a mixer, or it might just be at school, you're introducing a friend to another friend. So lesson 2 is about introducing other people. And while we're at it, we're going to increase our vocabulary a little bit. Right? So these are all some basic words for other types of jobs. Dozo, you can read the words one by one.
Kaisain.
Hi. So you're
Kaishi.
kaisha
Kaishain.
in, right? Hi. Kaisha is a company or an office. And this word in over here is a suffix, kind of the same way we use jin as a suffix for people of a specific nationality, right? We put it at the end of words. A suffix is always at the end of a word. So in is a suffix for employee. So in all of these words, you're going to see in at the end. So kaisha is a company or office. Kaisha in is an office employee or a company employee, an office worker, as it were. How about the next one? It's a familiar word, right?
Yobin
Hi.
Kyokuen.
Hi. You. This is elongated, right? It's a long sound. Yubin kyoku-in. Yubin kyoku-in. What is yubin kyoku? Do you remember?
Post
It's a post office. So yubin kyoku-in is an employee at the post office. I'm a post office employee. Ne? Watashi wa anuja desu. Yubin kyoku-in desu. Ne? If I say that, it means I work at a post office. Hi, dozo. You can read the next one.
Eki-in.
Hi, eki. Right? Eki is, you can guess from the picture.
Station. Train.
A train station. Eki is a station itself, not the train, but the station itself. A railway station is eki. So if you go to Japan, the names of railway stations, it's basically place plus eki. So Tokyo eki would be Tokyo railway station. Osaka eki is Osaka railway station. So eki is a station. Eki-in is an employee at a railway station. Right. Dozo. The last one is?
Ginko-in.
Hi.
Ginko-in.
Hi. Ginko-in. Can you guess what it is?
Bank.
Bank employee, right? Ginko is a bank. Ginko-in is a bank employee. So we have, hi, from the top, we'll just do each of them once. One is?
Kaisha-in.
Kaisha-in.
You've been
Hi.
Yobin kyoku-in.
Hi.
Yubin
kyoku-in. Third one is?
Eki-in.
Hi. Eki-in. And the last one is?
Ginko-in.
Exactly. Fantastic. Ginko-in, a bank employee. So with these in hand, we're going to make some new sentences with this lesson where we're introducing other people to each other, right? So we have Jiko Shokai. Now we're going into Tako Shokai. You don't need to remember this word. It's not important. Tako Shokai is introducing other people. Right. So here we have, who is this person?
Raja.
Raja-san, this name.
Raja.
Yeah, Raja-san.
This is Mr. Raja or Raja-san.
Yeah.
If Raja-san wants to do Jiko Shokai, he would say, what would he say?
Um,
Konbanwa.
Watashi wa.
Hi.
Watashi wa
Greeting.
Raja.
Hajime
Yes, sir.
Mashite.
Yeah.
Greeting. Then,
Hajime Mashite.
Konnichiwa.
hi. Konnichiwa or
Konnichiwa.
konbanwa. Hajime mashite.
Hajime mashite. Watashi wa
Watashi wa Raja desu.
Watashi wa Raja desu. And if he wants to introduce himself as a Japanese language student, he would say,
Watashi
Watashi wa
wa Nihongo no
Gakusei desu.
Watashi wa Nihongo no
Gakusei desu.
gakusei desu. Right? I am a student of what? Student of
Japanese language.
Japanese language.
Nihongo no gakusei desu. And lastly, of course, at the end of his self-introduction, dozo.
Dozo yoroshiku onegai shimasu.
Shimasu.
Great. Dozo yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Please take care of me. Now, what if in this situation, Raja-san has introduced himself and now he has the job of introducing another person to someone. That person is, hi, who is this person?
Kumaru-san.
Kumaru.
Hi.
Kumaru-san.
Katakana ne, we have to practice. Kumaru-san. Hi, Kumaru-san. Raja-san is introducing Kumaru-san to some random third person, right? The third person is not important here. How would we usually do it in English? You're just pointing to, you got Kumar standing next to you. How would you introduce him?
He
This
is
This is Kumar. Mr.
Yes.
Kumar.
Exactly.
Kumar.
This is Mr. Kumar or this is Kumar, depending on your relationship. You might put
Hi.
Mr. in front. Ne? This is Mr. Kumar. Ne? Nihongo. Let's read how it is in Nihongo. Dozo.
Kochira
Kochira wa
Kumaru-san
desu.
Kumar-san.
Hi.
Kumar-san.
Exactly. Kochira wa Kumaru-san desu. Hi. So it's actually the same structure that you saw in lesson 1, right? A wa B this. In lesson 1, we put watashi in this position and your name in this position. Speaking of me, right? Making me the topic. A is the topic and B is some information about the topic. If I am the topic, my name, A is equal to B. My name is Anuja. Watashi wa Anuja desu. When you're talking about another person, of course, we cannot say watashi. We have to replace watashi with an appropriate term. And we change the name, of course, to that person's name. So and-so wa Kumaru-san desu. In English, we say, this is Mr. Kumar, right? So kochira is the equivalent of this. But we will be learning more in detail about this. It's a little more complicated than that. We'll see it in a few minutes. So basically, this is Mr. Kumar. Now you want to say about Kumar that he is also a Japanese language student. How would you say? Kumar is a Japanese language student.
Kumaru-san wa Nihongo no
Kochira no
Desu.
Nihongo no
You're just thinking in the same pattern as yesterday. Kumar equal to Japanese language student. So Kumaru-san wa
Kumar-san.
Kumar-san wa Nihongo
Nihongo
no
no
Gakusei desu.
Ja-
Gakusei
Gakusei
desu.
desu.
Exactly. So Kumar is a Japanese language student. But in this scenario, Raja has introduced himself, right? He says, I am a Japanese student. And he's going to talk about Kumar also, who happens to also be a Japanese language student. In English, we would use the word also, right? So in place of wa, we use mo in Japanese. It is a particle. Just like wa, mo is also a particle and it means also.
Yeah, so also.
So Kumar is also a Japanese language student. We use this when this part, whatever information we're giving about Kumar, that information has already applied to someone that we have spoken about. It can be ourselves, it can be someone else also. Maybe we introduce Devi first. Devi-san wa Nihongo no gakusei desu. Kumaru-san mo Nihongo no gakusei desu.
学生です。
You're adding someone into the same fold, right? So you're replacing. Wa is being replaced with mo particle here. We don't use them together. We remove one and we replace it with mo. Is it okay so far?
はい。
はい、先生。はい、
Great. So we have, this is Raja. Raja is also a Japanese language student, right? So in this, kochira, there are some other alternative expressions that we can use instead of just kochira. You can go ahead and read the second sentence on the screen.
こ
こ
の
の
人は
人は
この
マルさんです。
さんです。
さんです。
Exactly. It's basically the same sentence, but instead of kochira, we're saying kono hito. Kono hito. Again, I will explain more in detail soon, but basically, hito here means person. So what we're saying more specifically here is this person. So here the kono part means this and hito part means person. Whereas in the case of kochira, it's kind of built into the word that you're saying this person. It's not broken into smaller details. It's one big unit. Again, I will explain a little more about it very soon. So you can do it both ways. Both are very natural, right? Instead of saying this, we're saying this person. That's the only difference. And one more thing we could say instead of kono hito. Dozo, you can read it.
この
この
方は
この方はマルさんです。
クマ
この
さんです。
の方
この方
は
は
クマル
です。
クマさんです。
はい。Kono kata. Right? Exactly. So the first case, it was hito.
人、
Right? Hito is a noun that means person. In the second case, we read kata.
方、
Kata is also a noun and it also means person, but it is a more respectful way of saying this person. Right? It's a little hard in English to translate this, but in most Indian languages, we have a way of calling someone plainly and more respectfully, right? It's like the difference between even and ivar, right? In Tamil, this man, you can just say even, but it sounds casual. You can say about your friend or your classmate. But if you're talking about a professor, you won't say even. You will say ivar, right? You want to be more respectful. So you would show that respect by opting for kono kata, right? This person, but it's just more respectful. So this, exactly, it's more polite, right? Kochira is also polite, by the way. Just to let you know, in the order of politeness, kono hito is the least polite. It's still polite, but it's just standard, barely polite. Then kono kata and kochira. They're both about equally polite or respectful. You can use whichever one. So they're all different ways of saying the same thing, basically. This person or this over here, this person over here. We'll come back to the grammar part of this. You can just make a note of the vocabulary for now. Now, the important thing, what do you feel is similar between all three of these expressions? There's one overlapping thing. Kochira, kono hito, kono kata.
この方。
What is similar? Yes. The starting sound, right? The opening sound is the same for all three of them. And in such a situation, that ko sound is indicating, right? Now, the speaker of all of these sentences is Raja-san.
Raja-san.
Raja
Right.
is speaking, and he is introducing Kumar to a third person. For Raja, the person who he's speaking about is right next to him, right beside him. So the person whom he's introducing, Kumar, is near the speaker when he uses the terms kochira, kono hito, or kono kata. Basically, the opening sound ko indicates this, It's there in most languages. In English, for example, we have only, actually in many languages, we have only this binary, this and that, right? When something is close to you, you say this. When it's a bit far from you, you say that. Same in Japanese, we have something for that too. Right now we're seeing this. In Tamil, idu, adu, even, avan, ivar, avar, and so on. Even in Hindi, we have, even for talking about places, we have these expressions, right? Yahan, wahan, idhar, udhar, and so on. So what we're seeing over here is the term that is associated with near the person who is speaking, in the speaker's immediate vicinity. That is the core term, and that's actually the core thing that we're seeing in this lesson, how to use these terms that talk about relative distance from the speaker. So far, we've seen just kochira, kono hito, and kono kata, right?
Konokata.
Now, what if we want to do a little bit more? We're talking a bit more about the people that we're introducing. Raja has introduced himself and Kumar. Now enter a third person. Who is this person?
Devi.
Devi-san.
Hi. This is Miss Devi,
Devi.
Devi-san.
Okay.
So if Raja wants to introduce Miss Devi, how would he do it?
Kono
Kono
kata
kata
wa
Kono kata
Hi.
Devi-san.
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 Devi-san desu.
Exactly. He can use one of three options. Kono hito, kono kata, or kochira. All three are fine. Kochira wa Devi-san desu. Okay? So he can say that. But in a situation like this, you're introducing two people. Why would you say, this is Kumar, this is Devi? Most of us normal human beings would be like, this is Kumar and Devi, right? We would club it together and say it in one sentence. So let's see how we can very easily do that. Dozo, you can read it.
Kochira wa Kumaru-san
Kumaru-san
to
to Devi-san
Devi-san
Desu.
desu.
Hai, kochira wa Kumaru-san to Devi-san desu. So to, just like we saw mo earlier. Now mo is a bit restricted in its usage. It's only also, it cannot be used in the sense of and. To has the function of and in Japanese, and it combines noun 1 plus noun 2. To can connect only nouns in Japanese language. It doesn't combine sentences. In English, we can use and in many ways. We can say bread and butter, noun plus noun. Or we can say, yesterday I went shopping and I visited a friend. We can combine two sentences also. But to in Japanese, only bread and butter, right? Only noun plus noun. So here, we're introducing two people, just their names are connected with to. So it's okay to use to over here. Kochira wa Kumaru-san to Devi-san desu.
Devi-san desu.
Now, a small point here, we won't use kono hito or kono kata in this situation because kono hito and kono kata are kind of like singular. You can only point to one person and say, this person. It doesn't mean these people. Whereas kochira is a bit broad, it can be used for any number of people. That's because it actually points in a direction rather than at one individual. We'll talk more about it later, but for now, you can remember, if I'm introducing multiple people, I should better use kochira. If I'm introducing just one person, I can use any of the three options. Now, we've introduced Kumar-san and Devi-san. What about Devi-san's other information? She also happens to be Japanese language student. What would we say?
Devi-san mo
Devi-san mo Nihongo no gakusei.
no gakusei desu.
Gakusei
Desu.
Devi-san mo Nihongo no gakusei desu. Miss Devi is also a Japanese language student. Now, in this case, we're introducing the two of them together, Kumar and Devi. How can we club them and say, Kumar and Devi are also Japanese language students?
Kumaru to
Kumaru-san to
Nihongo no gakusei desu.
Excellent. Kumaru-san to Devi-san.
Devi-san.
Mo
So you make them one unit and say that they are also Japanese language students. There is one extra thing we could do here. It's a bit of a special case. We can use either to or we can use mo twice over here. This can again be related to Indian languages a bit better because it doesn't sound good in English. But it's like saying avanum, avalum, students. I mean, I'm not going to put the whole sentence in Tamil, but you get the idea. We add this in Tamil to say this person also, this person also. We can keep adding how many ever we want of that, right? Same way we can do that with mo. In Hindi, we use bhi, ye bhi, wo bhi. It's like adding that to that mo is working the same way with this here. So we can do it with any number of people. Raja-san mo, Kumara-san mo, Devi-san mo, Nihongo no gakusei desu. We can add mo any number of times, or we can combine them all together with to and put mo at the end. Raja-san to, Kumara-san to, Devi-san mo, Nihongo no gakusei desu. Daijoubu. Is it okay?
はい、先生。
はい、先生。
Great. Now, that was a simple scenario. Raja, Kumar, Devi, they're all Japanese language students. How convenient. What if they were all have, different occupations? For example, Kumar-san is a company employee. How can we make the sentence?
Kumar-san wa
小丸さんは
小丸さんは
会
会社員
in
This.
Kumar-san wa kaisha-in desu. Excellent. And Devi-san, if you want to say she is a bank employee, you can say
Devi-san
Devi-san wa
Kochi going in
Hi.
Ginko
Ginko in
Ginko
in ですね。
Ginko in です。
yeah
はい。
Ginko in です
デビーさんは銀行員です。
Ginko in です
Now, these are two separate sentences. クマールさんは会社員です。デビーさんは銀行員です。
Ginko in
But again, naturally speaking in a language, we wouldn't be like, Kumar is a company employee, full stop. Devi is a bank employee, full stop. Most of us tend to speak a bit faster and connect these sentences together, right? Kumar is a company employee and Devi is a bank employee. What if we want to connect sentences and not just nouns? Actually, it's not all that difficult. We have to take these two sentences, right? We're going to kind of merge them together. Hi. Please read this entire text over here. Dozo.
小丸さんは会社員で、
会
デビさんは銀行員です。
Hi. Exactly. It's basically the same two sentences, right? Kumar-san wa kaisha-in de. The only difference is that instead of ending the sentence here with desu, you're changing that desu into de, changing the full stop or period into a comma, right? A Japanese comma looks a little bit different. So this is an English comma. Japanese comma looks like this, right? It moves in that direction. So you change desu to de and add a comma. And basically you've got and, which is a coordinating conjunction. It connects two sentences, right? Kumar-san wa kaisha-in de, Devi-san wa ginko-in desu. You can use this to connect any sentences that are formed using this a, wa, bi, desu sentence structure, right? The desu is what's being converted into de. So as long as the sentence ends with desu, you can connect it to the next sentence by changing desu into de. So even your own self-introduction, right? If you're giving a lot of information about yourself, you want to say, I'm a Japanese language student and I'm a company employee. How can you do that? I'm a Japanese language student.
私
私は
は日本語の学
日本語の学
生
生で
De,
日本語の
会社員です
会社員
kaisha-in
会社員
で
です
す。Exactly. 私は日本語の学生で
です。
kaishain desu. You
Gaishain
don't have
desu.
to repeat watashi wa, right? If you said watashi wa and the topic is not changing, if you've already established the topic, then you don't have to mention the topic again. In this case, it's Kumar and Devi, two different topics. So you have to say it. But if it's watashi every time, you can omit watashi in the future sentences. Watashi wa gakusei de kaishain desu. I am this and this. Combining two sentences using de, which is also a particle, by the way. So we've seen 3 new particles in this lesson so far. The first one was
Mo.
I, meaning also.
Also.
The second one is
To.
to, which
And-
connects nouns, right? Noun 1, to, noun 2.
Noun two.
And lastly, we're seeing
De.
De.
they, which is also and, but it connects.
Two sentences.
Two sentences.
Exactly. Sentences together. And it's not always just 2 sentences. You can actually connect n number of sentences with they, as long as they follow this structure. But I would advise being kind to your listener. You don't want to keep dragging on your sentence too long. Maybe 2 to 3 sentences is okay. More than that, it's a little tedious, right? Even we want a break. So you can stop with 2 to 3 sentences, connected into one, and then you can break and make a new sentence. Japanese is very forgiving in a lot of things. One of those is how sentences become longer and longer. It's very easy to connect pieces together in Japanese, whereas English is very rigid. The very beginning of a sentence tends to determine what kind of sentence it's going to be at the end. But Japanese can be a little more flexible in that. But we need to be kind to others so that it's controlled. Just because it's flexible doesn't mean we need to abuse it, right? So you can make a note of these 3 particles. And now we'll come back to, we were looking at this kochira, kono hito, and kono kata. Okay? So we'll look at that a little bit more in detail. Is it fine until this? Any questions?
Yes, Sensei.
Naj.
Great. So no questions means
Sensei, I have
Hi.
a doubt. Should we
Go.
use, is it mandatory to apply comma after de particle?
it's not compulsory. It's your discretion. If you feel you want to give a strong break, you can put a comma. Otherwise, it's not strictly needed.
Arigato.
Yeah. Hi. So we'll practice this a little bit, shall we? Before we proceed.
Yes.
We'll start by introducing people to others. Yes? Hi, Dozo, you can read the name and tell me how would you introduce this person?
Tanaka.
Tanaka.
So this person is Tanaka. You can say
Tanaka.
Kochira wa
Kochira.
Tanaka-san desu.
田中さんです。
Kochira wa Tanaka-san desu. Hi, Dozo. You can do the next person.
Devi.
Devi.
Kono hito wa Devi-san
こ
desu.
ちら、
Hi. You can either say Kochira wa or
Aba.
Kono hito wa
Kono hata
こ
wa.
の
Kono kata desu ne. It's kata.
Yes.
Ka-san.
Yes.
So, kono hito wa Devi-san desu.
Devi.
Kono kata wa Devi-san desu. Kochira wa Devi-san desu. Any of these is fine. Hi, dozo. Next person is?
Raja.
Raja.
Hi.
こ
How do
の
we
方
introduce
は
Kono kata wa Raja desu. Raja-san desu.
Hi. Kono hito wa Raja-san desu. Or kono kata wa Raja-san desu. Kochira wa Raja-san desu. Hi. Now, apart from just introducing them, we're going to make some sentences, right? We want to say it. Hi. Who is this?
Kumar.
Kumar-san. Ne? You want to say Kumar is also 何ですか?
日本語の学生
Kumar-san mo Nihongo no gakusei
学
desu.
生です。
Very good. We have to add a no particle here to connect these two, right? Kumaru-san mo. Right? That's also.
日本
Nihongo
語
no
の
gakusei desu.
学生
学
です。
生です。
Kumar is also a Japanese language student. Excellent. Next person is?
Tanaka.
田中さんも
Hi. Tanaka-san mo.
も英語
英語
の
先生
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 This. Ne? Hi, exactly. Tanaka-san mo 英語の先生です. What is 英語の先生?
English teacher.
English language,
teacher.
right? Eigo is English language. So a teacher of English language. So if you're using mo in these scenarios, it means you have already introduced someone who fits into these categories before making this sentence, right? It could be watashi, it could be anyone, but you would have done that. Right, dozo. What about the last case? We want to make it a negative sentence, right? Not affirmative. Hayashi. Sorry, I read it myself. Hayashi is not.
Nihongo.
Nihongo deva
Hayashi.
Nihongo
Deva
deva
Hayashi-san wa Nihongo
Nihongo
no
no
sensei deva
sensei
arimasen.
deva arimasen.
ありません。
Hi, excellent. Hayashi-san wa Nihongo no sensei.
先生。
Deva arimasen.
ありません。
Exactly. You want to say he's not that thing. Mr. Hayashi is not a Japanese language teacher. Nihongo no sensei dewa arimasen. So, of course, whatever we learned applying with watashi, it can apply to others. So, Hayashi wa something dewa arimasen. Same thing. He's not a teacher. Nihongo no gakusei desu. He's a student, not a teacher. Hai. Now we're introducing more than one person. First, we want to club together these two names, and they are also this. Those are. Who are the two people?
Kumaru-san,
Kumaru-san and
Ashoku-san.
Ashoku-san.
Kumar-san and Ashoku-san. How can you club their names together?
Ryoga.
How would you combine two people together?
Yeah.
To
To?
To
Right? Kumar-san to
To
Ashoku-san.
Ashoku-san mo
Mo.
mo
What is this?
Ryu
Gakusei.
Ryugakusei.
Hai. Ryugakusei. Ryugakusei is a foreign exchange student, right? A student who's come from another country. Ryugakusei. So here we want to say Kumar and Ashok are also foreign exchange students. Kumaru-san to Ashoku-san mo ryugakusei desu. Both of these people are also in this category, in this group, which means someone you have already introduced is ryugakusei. And you're adding these two to that list. How about the next pair of people? Who are they?
Tanaka,
Suzuki-san.
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 And we combine them using
To
to particle, right? Exactly. Tanaka-san to Suzuki-san.
Suzuki-san.
Mo
Nihongo
Nihongo no sensei desu.
Nihongo no
sensei.
sensei desu. So here it doesn't say also. You can just use wa. It's fine. So Tanaka-san to Suzuki-san wa Nihongo no sensei desu.
Sensei desu.
Tanaka and Suzuki are both Japanese language sensei desu, teacher. Hai. These two are
Raja,
Kumaru-san.
Raja-san and
Devi-san.
Devi-san. So Raja and Devi.
Raja-san
to
to
Devi-san.
Devi
Gai-san desu.
Devi-san mo Gaisha
はい。
Kai
Gaisha desu.
Hai. Kaishain desu. Raja-san to Devi-san mo Kaishain.
Chain desu.
Of course, you can also just use mo here for both of them. Raja-san mo, Devi-san mo. Raja also, Devi also are kaishain, company employees. Now let's twist it up a bit. Let's try to ask a question. We'll change it into a question structure. We want to ask about these two people if they are. Hai. What are the two? Who are the two people?
Kumaru-san,
Kumaru.
Ashoku-san.
Kumaru-san to
Ashoku-san.
Ashoku-san wa
Hai.
Nihongo no gakusei desu ka?
学生ですか？
Exactly. The question form is the same thing, but we add ka at the end and we raise our intonation so that we indicate we're asking a question. Kumaru-san to Ashoku-san wa Nihongo no gakusei desu ka? Are they Japanese language students? Both of these people. So we club them and make them into one unit. Say these two, are they students? Hi. Excellent so far. Now we're going to elongate a little bit more. We're introducing, right? From scratch, let's introduce these two people. You want to say, this is Devi and Kumar. How can we do it?
こちらは
こちらは
デビさん
デ
です。
ビさんです。
はい。こちらはデビさん and Kumar.
です。
デ
ビ
ビ
さん
さんとコマル
コマルさんです。
Excellent. こちらはデビさんとKumarさん。
コマルさん
Now,
で
what
す。
are their jobs? What is Miss Devi?
デビさん。
郵便
郵便局員。
郵便局。
Excellent. デビさんは郵便局員です。
局員。
What is Kumar さん？
コマルさんは会社員です。
会
会社員です。
会社
ね。会社員ね。
会
So,
社員です。
デビさんは郵便局員です。クマールさんは会社員です。How can we combine it into one sentence?
デビさん
デビさんは
郵便
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 局
局
員
員
郵便局員
で、
と
で、
ラジャさんは、
クマールさん。
コマルさんは、
会社員
です。Excellent. デビさんは郵便局員で、クマールさんは会社員です。So this is Devi and Kumar. Devi is in this job and Kumar is in this job. You can just fill in the blank accordingly, whichever occupation applies. Let's try one more. We're introducing Miss Tanaka and Hayashi. First we say
田中。
this person. Now this is
こ
ちら
は田中さん。
田中さんと林さんです。
林さんです。
excellent. こちらは田中さんと林さんです。Over here. This is Tanaka and Hayashi. You want to say Tanaka is a student of Tamil language and you want to say Hayashi is a teacher of Japanese language. In one sentence, how can we do it? First, Tanaka-san, どうぞ。
田中
さんはタミル語の学生で、
学生
で、
林さんは
林さんは日本語の
先生です。Excellent. タミル語の学生で、林さんは日本語の先生です。田中さんはタミル語の学生。So we're connecting the two using de particle, right? We're changing the first sentences desu into de and attaching the second sentence. Hi, fantastic. Let's try just one last one. It's a little bit trickier. Now, who are we introducing?
Ashok-san.
Ashok-san, right? This is Ashok. How can we say it?
こちらは
この方はアショークさんです。
こちらは Ashok-san. This person is Ashok. You want to say Ashok is a teacher of English language and Japanese language.
アショークさん
アショークさん
日本語の
日本語
もイギリス
英語 is English, right?
英語
No sensei.
先生です。
That part is correct. 英語の先生ですね。
はい。
はい。But how do we combine the Nihongo and Eigo part? Actually, since the sensei applies to both of them, you can simply connect them with to. So, Nihongo to 英語
の先生です。
ね。アショークさんは英語と日本語の先生です。He's a teacher of English and Japanese. So basically, you're clubbing these two together. You're expanding on what you're describing sensei as. Something no sensei, none no sensei, what no sensei. That is Eigo and Nihongo. Since they are independent nouns, we can connect them together with ho. Is it okay? Hi, great work. Everybody's doing very well so far. How do you feel about reading hiragana, katakana? どうですか? How is it?
It's like practice
practice
pays
regularly.
pays hard.
Yes.
What paid off?
Regular practice, otherwise it's tough, right? Especially katakana. I know it's difficult. They all look very similar. But I think with hiragana, you're doing pretty well so far. So I'm very glad to see that. And just a minute, I would like everyone to take a second to give yourselves a pat on the back. You've started it's been a couple of weeks, right? Since you started Nihongo, Japanese. And you're already you're reading full sentences. So you're making good progress. Keep appreciating the work you have put in, but it's a language. So you're going to have to keep putting in more and more effort. Yes. It's important to keep your enthusiasm up. So well done so far. Let's pick it up from here, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Sensei.
Great. So we're coming into the other part of, so in this lesson, we've learned the 3 new particles, right? Connecting sentences, connecting nouns, all that. We're also looking at one other major topic in Japanese grammar, and that is called koso ado, the koso ado words. Right? You don't have to memorize this right away, but we'll be learning it in like 2 or 3 lessons, so you will eventually memorize. You don't have to try hard for it. So koso ado is a kind of grammatical concept that has to do with the location of the person who's speaking and the location of objects or people that they're talking about, like this and that in English. But in English, you have basically this binary, just this or that. Either it's near you or not near you, the speaker. In Japanese, there is an additional dimension to this. So ko is near the speaker. We've already seen that. Right? So that is this. What about that? And why are there 4 different terms? We'll see that in just a second. We've already covered ko. Now we'll look at probably the most important category or most interesting category in Japanese. That is the so category. So if kochira is the ko category word, the so category word is sochira.
Yeah.
Sochira. And when you speak and use the word sochira, you're referring to a person or something near your listener. This is a little tricky concept for us because most languages don't have this. As I said, in English, it's this or that. When I say that, it's not near me, that's all. It doesn't matter who I'm talking to. Say I have a water bottle here. It's this water bottle near me. If I put it far away, it's that water bottle. It's a bit far from me. If my friend is sitting next to me, then the way I call the water bottle won't change. It's still going to be this or that depending on my position and the water bottle's position. A third person being involved doesn't affect how I call the water bottle. But in Japanese, you have this extra term, the so term, where you're talking about the position of things or people based on whom you're addressing, the person to whom you're speaking. So if this is Raja and he's speaking to Kumar, and they're talking about a third person, Devi. Raja is the one talking, he's the speaker. Kumar is the one listening. They're talking to each other about Devi. Hey, oh, that person is Devi. Have you met her before? She's also working in our company, right? They're talking to each other about Devi. But the way Raja would talk about Devi changes. If Devi is near him, he would call her Kochira. If Devi is near Kumar, his listener, he would call her Sochira.
Sochira.
That person near you, my listener. The third term in this is
Achira.
Achira.
achira. Achira means that person over there. That is to say, the person whom you're speaking about is far away from both you and your listener. So Raja and Kumar are talking. Devi, about whom they're speaking, is way far away in the end of the room. They're in a big conference room. Devi is in one corner. These two are in one corner. Then Devi is achira for both of them. So she's quite far away. Now, in most languages, sochira and achira are absorbed into one term. But in Japanese, it's divided. The listener's position becomes important. So if Raja talks about Devi and calls her Sochira, and then Kumar is going to talk about the same Devi-san, the one standing next to him, to Raja, how would Kumar call Devi then?
Kochira.
Kochira.
Kochira, right? Exactly. So Kochira for himself would become Sochira for the other person. This is the tricky part. When we speak, we have to start taking in that thinking, that logic into our head. It has to become kind of second nature. For a Japanese person, they grew up listening to it and using it, so they're not thinking about it. Many of them don't even realize this distinction that they're making. But as learners, we're able to break this up and understand this is the logic. And that's how important a listener is in Japanese culture. At every stage, you're going to see that the person to whom you're speaking matters a lot. Polite language exists based on the person you're speaking to. In N5 level, you're going to learn a basic type of polite language. In N4 level, you'll learn that there are stratifications in polite language depending on who your listener is, what their position is. If you want to be humble, if you want to show them more respect, all that. So this is a very important part of Japanese culture. And I don't even know if they realize that it's there. So koso ado terms, ko is near the speaker, so is near the listener. A is far away from both. That leaves the last category, do. Can anyone guess what that might be?
Dochira.
Hi. The term is dochira
Means-
is basically the question form. Right? The question form. This is there in most languages, right? Idu, adu, yedu. Yahan, wahan, kahan. Right? Idhar, udhar, kidhar. We end up making the question form. It sounds very similar to the other two forms. So the do words are all question terms. Who or where and things like that. So far as the concept, okay? We're going to
I
start
sense.
practicing it soon.
Practice.
Great.
Donata.
Hi. Yes. There's one more on the slide here, right? So we have both dochira and donata. We learn them very soon, right? We'll see them in the following slides. So let's get used to this kochira, sochira, achira breakup, right? The distinction between the three. So we have a speaker here. Who is this person?
Ashok-san.
Asoku-san.
Hi. It's Ashok-san. And Ashok-san is speaking to someone. Who is that?
Tanaka-san.
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 And now Ashok wants to introduce someone to Tanaka. Who is this person he wants to introduce?
Devi-san.
So,
Devi-san.
So she is located near Ashok-san.
Ashok-san.
How would he refer to
Kochira.
her?
Kochira.
Kochira wa
Devi-san.
Excellent. Kochira wa Devi-san desu.
Devi-san desu.
Now, the speaker and listener are not changing, right? Ashok is still the speaker. Tanaka is still the listener. But Devi's position is different. She is now near the listener. And Ashok is still going to introduce. He's going to tell her, oh, the woman next to you, right? The person near you. That is Miss Devi. How would he refer to her?
Kochira wa
Kochira.
Devi-san desu. Exactly.
Yes.
Sochira wa Devi-san desu.
Devi-san.
That person near you.
Baby-san.
Exactly. That person near you is Miss Devi. And lastly, you have a scenario. They're both close together. They're both talking about a Devi who's very far away from them. They would say,
Achira wa
Achira wa
Devi-san.
Yes.
Achira wa.
Devi-san.
Devi-san desu.
That person over there is Miss Devi. You can basically over there. You don't need to go through the extent of translating it this long every time. But for the purpose of understanding, we're doing this in our textbook. So when you see the exercises, Sochira would be often translated as that person near you or near the listener in brackets. Because in English, we have only that person. It's not clear whether it should be Sochira or Achira, right? So for Sochira's case, it's near you or near the listener. It would be written this way. And for Achira's case, it would be written as over there. That person over there, far in the distance. Sochira wa or Achira wa Devi-san desu. So dochira will come to it after some time. Now let's try to fill in the blanks of what we have picked up. Now so far we've, yes, was there a question? So far we've just said, okay, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so. We still don't know how to ask Who is that person? Right? You go to a party, you go to a mixer, you go to an event, and you don't know someone at all. You need that person to be introduced to you. You have to ask that basic question, right? So Raja goes here, and there's somebody next to Kumar-san. Raja doesn't know who that is. He needs to ask Kumar, hey, who is that person next to you? So first up, the person next to you, the term would be?
Kochira.
Next to.
If Raja is the speaker, Kumar is the listener, Raja is referring to this person next to Kumar.
Tochira.
Kochirawa.
Sochira.
Ko
Sochirawa.
or a.
Sochirawa.
Sochira.
Sochirawa.
Sochirawa, that person near you. Sochirawa, who is that? The question term, who? Dozo, you can read it.
Sochirawa. Donata.
Donata desu ka?
Desika.
Donata desu ka? Donata means who. Donata is who. It is the more respectful version. Sorry, respectful version. Dare is the more casual version. They mean the exact same thing. Sochira wa donata desu ka? Sochira wa dare desu ka? They both mean the same thing. Who is that person near you? You use the term donata when you don't know that person at all. You've never seen them before. You don't know what their name is. You have no clue. At that time, donata. I have no clue. Please tell me about that person. Tell me their name. Donata desu ka? Now, the situation is, Raja is asking Kumar, who is that person? Now, Kumar's duty is to introduce that person. Kumar is speaking back to Raja, and he wants to say, this person is Ashok.
Sochirawa.
Sochirawa.
Asoku-san desu.
Now, Kumar is the speaker. The person whom he is introducing is near him, the
Close.
speaker. So,
Kochirawa.
Asoku-san desu.
Kochira wa Ashok-san.
Asoku-san.
Exactly. So, Raja asked, Sochira wa, how can he ask?
Sochirawa.
Sochirawa.
Donata desu ka?
Donata desu
Donata desu ka? Dare desu ka? Donata desu ka? Who is that person? Sochira wa donata desu ka? Who is that person near you? And Kumar says, Kochira wa Ashok-san.
Ashoku-san desu.
Kochira wa Ashok-san desu ne. This person near me is Ashoka, sorry. Now, if he wants to say Ashok is also a Japanese language student, you know this part?
Asoku-san.
Ashoka-san. Mo
Nihongo no
Nihongo no
Gakusei desu. Exactly. Oh, this is Ashok. He's also a Japanese language student. Ashok-san mo Nihongo no gakusei desu. Hai. So, sochira wa donata desu ka? In place of sochira, can you guess what other terms we can use?
Sono
Hai.
hito.
So
Sono
earlier
hata.
we saw kono hito and kono kata.
Kono kata wa.
Sorry. Similarly, instead of kono, we can replace kono with so here. Sono hito, sono kata, or sochira. All three terms exist in this category also. Of course, please use sochira when it's more than one person. Kono hito and kono kata can be used for one individual. Who? Ne? Kono hito wa, sorry, sono hito wa donata desu ka? Sono kata wa dare desu ka? Ne? Who is that person? You can ask using any of these terms. Ne? Near you, the listener. I'm the speaker. I'm asking you, the person near you. Who is that? Ne? Sochira, sono hito, sono kata. Hai. Always used for people or, well, you'll learn about objects and things in the next lesson. For now, we're only talking about people, right? The position of people. So for anything, any person near the listener, we use these terms. So terms, ne? Ko near the speaker, so near the listener. And lastly, we have
Achira.
Achira.
We saw this situation earlier, right? Kumar, Raja, they're both standing together and they're talking about a Miss Devi who's far away from both of them. Achira wa
Devi san desu.
Baby son this.
In the same way as ko and so terms, you also have the alternative for achira. What are they?
Ano hito wa Devi san desu. Ano kata wa Devi san
Devi san.
This.
Achira wa Devi san desu. Ano hito wa Devi san. Ano kata wa Devi san. All of them mean basically the same thing, with anohito being the most normal level of politeness. Achira and anokata are a little more respectful, a little more polite than anohito. Okay, desu ka? Is it okay so far? If you want to ask who the person is who's far away, then you can do it the same way we did for sochira, right? Dozo.
Rajasan.
Kumaru san achira wa
Achira wa
donata desu ka?
This.
hai. Achira wa donata desu ka? Who is that person over there? Right? Same way. Sochira wa donata desu ka? You can use it with all of them. There's no fixed thing. Depends on the position of the person. So it could be kochira also, sochira also, achira also. Donata is basically when you want to know who the person is. You can generally remember this for now in these early stages when you want to ask a question and you don't know what an object is or who a person is. It's the same sentence structure, A wa B desu ka, but in the position of B is where you put the question word, right? So achira is indicating location. B is the place where you're putting in the word who, right? We also saw in lesson 1, when you learned Jiko Shokai, you also learned how to ask another person for their name, right? Do you remember how to do that?
Namae wa nan desu ka?
Right. Onamae wa nan desu ka?
Namdi.
So, onamae, or you can say anata no namae. That's also fine. But onamae is more respectful, right? In Japanese, pointing and saying you is considered a little bit rude. So they don't use this word anata to people who they're not close to or people who are superior to them. Anata can only be used with equals or inferiors. So, anata no namae or onamae wa nan desu ka? In that structure also, we're seeing the question word nan, right? Nan means what? The question word is going in the B position, right? Your name, what is it, right? That person, who is it? Generally, this will be the structure that you're going to follow in the early stage. It can be changed, but it gets confusing. The grammar part is confusing. We'll come back to it, right? You'll revisit it in the future. Hi. So donata, of course, you can replace donata with dare. You can practice that from time to time also. Even though it's less polite, it's pretty frequently used. So dare also means who. When you don't know somebody, you can use dare. Okay. Now, when somebody is asked about with dare, sorry, dare or donata, achira wa donata desu ka? Achira wa dare desu ka? How will Kumar introduce her back? Let me clean up the slide. Now Raja is asking, Mr. Kumar, who is that person over there? How would Kumar introduce her?
Achira wa
Chirawa.
Devi san desu.
Hi, and Miss Devi is a bank employee.
Devi san wa
Ginko-in.
in desu.
Ginko-in desu. Hi. Achira. Achira wa Devi-san desu. Devi-san wa Ginko-in. So the person who is Achira for Raja is also Achira for Kumar. It won't change because she continues to be far away from both of them. When Raja asks Achira, say Devi starts walking closer and closer and she comes next to Kumar, then the situation changes. But that kind of thing is pretty rare. Usually when you use an A term, the other person will also continue to use the A term. Achira, ano hito, ano kata. Unless that person starts moving and miraculously shows up right next to you or your listener, it will mostly stay the same. Is it okay?
Hi.
So achira, ano hito, anakata, all for people who are far from both the speaker and the listener. Now, the last term that we saw is the question terms, right? So far we've seen only who or donata,
What?
right? Who. And we also saw nan, which is what. Nan can be used only for objects, not for people, right? Nan, the full form is nani. You use the contracted form, nan, in many places. Nani can be used only for objects, for things, not for people themselves. So if you're talking about, there's a box, there's a mysterious box, you don't know what's inside. Nan desu ka? What is it? But you won't use it for people. For people, if you don't know someone, you say donata or dare. Now we also saw this other term, question term. The kochira, sochira, achira, what's the last term?
Dochira.
Dochira. Dochira has two convenient uses. It can be used to mean where. It can also be used to mean which. For example, you want to ask, where is Miss Devi? Please use the structure which I mentioned earlier, right? In A wa B desu, you can place, or desu ka, you can place the question term in the position of B. So how do we make the sentence?
Baby san
Devis
dochira
Dochira desu ka?
Excellent. Devi-san wa dochira desu ka?
Dochira.
Where is she? Which way did she go? Right? Can you guide me in the direction of Miss Devi? Where is she? You can, of course, use it for places also, not just people. Dochira, unlike, so kochira, sochira, achira, dochira, they're very flexible. You can use them for places and locations also. You will come back to this. You don't have to remember it now. In lesson 3, that will be discussed more in detail. So where is Miss Devi? Devi-san wa dochira desu ka? The answer to this question can you guess how we would make this sentence? Miss Devi is over there.
Devi-san
baby san wa achira desu.
achira desu.
Hi.
Achira.
Exactly. Devi-san wa achira desu.
Achira desu.
She's over there. Assuming she's near me, the speaker, I would instead say,
Kochi.
Kochira.
hi.
Kochira.
Devi-san wa kochira desu. She's right
Kochira.
here, right? And say she's near my listener, right? The person who asked me, right? Raja comes up to me and he says, hey, where's Devi? Devi-san wa dochira desu ka? Oh, she's right next to you. I can say Devi-san wa
Devi-san wa
Dochira
dochira
desu.
desu.
Kochira wa desu.
Kochira.
sochira desu. Devi-san wa sochira desu.
Kochira.
So if somebody asks you a question, Devi-san wa dochira desu ka? Where? You can maintain the same sentence structure, replace dochira with the appropriate answer. And you can give the answer in the same place where dochira is. For dochira alone, we do it like this, because in the case of donata, they don't know the person at all, right? So you're going to fill donata place with the person's name. Similarly, dochira, you're going to replace dochira with the person's position, their location. So Devi-san is where? Devi-san is there. If you think of the structure that way, it makes a lot of sense. It sounds weird in English, but logically, it's very, very straightforward. Now, as I said earlier, dochira has one more convenient usage. It's to ask which. Now, for example, there's a bunch of people in the room. You know Miss Devi is somewhere in this room, but you don't know which one she is. You haven't seen a photo. You haven't seen her before. You've just heard of her name and you're eager to meet her. You want to know which person is Miss Devi. It's the same exact question, as the previous question. Dozo, you can read it.
デビ
デビさん
デビさん
は
どちら
ど
ですか
ちらですか
はい。
ですか
デビさんはどちら
どち
ですから
ですか
Where is she or which person is she? It means both things. Mostly the situation, I mean, the answer is going to be the same. Whether you're asking someone, where is she or which one is she, the answer will mean the person will tell you exactly who Devi-san is, right? So it doesn't matter which of these questions you're trying to ask. The answer is going to be the same. So the convenience of dochira is it can mean both things. You could ask either of these questions. One other thing, as I said, dochira can also be used to ask about the position of places or objects. For example, where is the bank? You know the word for bank, right?
どちら
銀行
銀行員
はい。
銀行
Ginko in is an employee. In is the suffix for employee. So you don't need in here. Just ginko. ね。Ginko は
こうは
銀行
どち
は
らどちらですか
ですか
ですか
はい。銀行はどちらですか
どちらですか
人口は
どちらですか
Exactly.
どちらですか
Any new country, foreign country that you go to, probably the single most important question to be able to ask is, where is blank? Whether it's a toilet or a restaurant or a famous landmark or anything, a bank or eki, railway station, to be able to ask where something is extremely important. And basically, you can fill in, you can change this, you can swap in anything into this question, and it's your where is question. Right? So please remember it. It's very, very handy. Blank wa dochira desu ka? Where is it? And as I said, it can also be used for objects. So the same way you asked which person is Devi, you can also ask which object is mine or which object is this. For example, which pen is my pen? For pen, you can just say pen. It's fine. Hi, my pen. How can we say it in Japanese?
私の
私は
私は
はい。私のペン。
ペン
私の
私の
はい。So,
ペン
so the structure will be like this, right? In Japanese. You'll put the question part afterwards.
マイペン
私の
私の
ペンは
私の
どちらですか
どちらですか
ですか
はい。私のペンは
ど
どちらですか
どちらですか
はい。Which is mine, right? Which one belongs to me? 私のペンはどちらですか This could easily also be where is my pen? Either way, your friend is going to pick up your pen and show you. Right? The answer is the same. My pen, which is it? Or where is it? So dochira, it's a very useful term. You can use it for many things. So which person is Raja? How can we ask?
ラジャさん
ラジャさんは
ラジャさん
ど
は
ちらですか
どちらですか
Exactly. Dochira desu ka? Now we've seen dochira, as you can guess, like we have for kochira, sochira, achira. You also have the alternative term. 何ですか
どのいた
It is dono
どの方
kata,
その方
はい
人
dono
その
hito.
人
Dono
人
hito.
人
So Raja,
人ラジャ
which person? どの方ですかラジャさんはどの方ですかラジャさんはどの人ですか
この人ですか
So in all of these cases, it can always only be which. Which person? You don't use dochira, dono hito, or dono kata to ask about who. Right? That is, it's not to know that person from scratch. You have an idea of that person and you want to identify them out of a group of people, then you use these terms. But if you don't know their name at all, then you should use which
ど
term do
な
we use?
た
Hi. Sorry. Donata
どなた
or
誰
hi.
誰
Dare. These are the two terms we use when we don't know the person at all. Achira wa dare desu ka? Sochira wa donata desu ka? If you don't know them at all, you can opt for those two terms. So just to summarize, so far we have seen in the Koso Ado group of terms, kochira is for near the speaker. The next term is
どちら
こちら
どちら
tochira for near the listener.
Kachira.
Achira
Achira
Akira far from both
Far
speaker and
from
listener.
speaker and listener.
who is to ask who?
どちら
Ah, to ask who a person is. You don't know their name.
どなた
Hai.
どな
Donata. Ne? Donata or dare.
誰
誰はい
If you don't know them at all, donata or dare.
Donata.
Itu Donakato.
Which?
You can also replace all of these. But quickly, we'll just look at this. Donata and dare, you don't know their name. You want to know who that person is. Dochira is which or where, right?
Yeah.
Which or where. You know that person. You want to know their exact position or location out of a group of people. Now, along with all of these, we saw this other group of terms where we combined kono plus hito or kata, sono plus hito or kata, ano plus hito or kata, dono plus hito or kata. That is another set of Koso Ado terms. Unlike kochira, sochira, achira, dochira, donata, dare, kono, sono, ano, dono is very, very broad in its usage. Now, this first set is a bit narrow. You can only use it in some situations. But the next set, you can use it to talk about anything. It could be about people, it could be about objects, it could be about places. We usually don't use the first set for objects. This is something you will learn more about in the next lesson. You don't have to overthink it for now. In lesson 3, Padma Sensei will come back and discuss with you about how you talk about objects using Koso Ado words. In that time, you will revisit this kono, sono, ano, and dono. Apart from this, we also saw 3 particles, right? Mo, to, and
もと
de.
で
Mo also, to and to connect nouns and
で and
De
connect sentence
to connect sentences.
sentence.
So this is just a kind of tabular column to give you an idea of Koso Ado terms. So far, we have looked at this one first. It's used for directions and people. We also looked at this. It's the Swiss Army knife. You can actually use it for anything. You'll learn more about it in the next lesson. And there are 2 more categories that you will be learning about in the next lesson. One is for objects. There's a separate set of Koso Ado terms that you use only for things. To explain it in Tamil, to use these terms on people, it's like agrinai. You cannot do it. You don't say idu, adu for people. I mean, sometimes we do it for fun, but we don't do it out of respect. So we have a set of terms for just objects. You'll be seeing it next lesson. And again, we have a set of terms for places.
Places.
So this will be filled up at the end of lesson 3. Hai, otsukaresama desu. Any questions so far? Is it okay?
大丈夫です。
大丈夫ですか? Hai.
はい。
Great. Hi. So what I want to do is we have some time left. So we still have to look at the textbook material, right? Lesson 2.
Okay.
I want to walk everyone through what's there in the textbook. And one other important thing is, now that you're completing lessons 1 and 2, you will notice that at the end of every lesson, you have some exercises, right? Some practice exercises. So you have 2 sets of exercises for every lesson. The first set is called Renshu. Right? Renshu, you'll sometimes do some in class, but Renshu, the answers are also there in the back of your book. You can do it on your own and check the answers. The next set of exercise, it's titled exercise. Now, these are the ones, they are available in your Hayakawa platform as well, online, right?
Okay.
So if you do it in your textbook, your sensei will not be able to check, right? It's very difficult. Online, if you complete the lesson exercises, it's part of your curriculum. If you complete it online, Padma Sensei will be able to check your submissions and check your scores and give you any corrections and so on. So it's very important that you start doing the online exercises and submitting them on time. Once we complete a lesson in class, you can do the exercises online. So I'll just quickly, maybe after we cover the lesson 2 Kaiwa conversation, I'll also quickly show you how you can find it online in the Hayakawa platform and how you should go about typing and completing it. Have you already learned how to do the typing part?
Hi, Sensei.
Hiragana and katakana, you know how to type, right?
Hi.
Okay.
Hi, Sensei.
Right. So I'll just show you how to actually do the exercises in the platform. We'll do that right after we look at the textbook material, right? So I'll just come back to this part. Stop the screen share for a second. And I'm going to switch over now to the textbook. I ended up loading the same thing. Hi. So before we read the Kaiwa part, the conversation part, I'd like to just take a look at the other materials in the lesson, right? We'll just quickly walk through those things so that you know what else is there. So the beginning of today's lesson, we looked at those 4 new words for occupations. They're given in the textbook, right? You have bank employee, company employee, and so on. Right above that, you have this main concept that we looked at in this lesson. That is koso ado. We have only these concepts so far. We haven't gone in this lesson. Actually, kono, sono, ano, dono is not looked at extensively in the conversation part, but it is made a note of over here, right? So you have the kochira, sochira, achira, dochira. You also have donata mentioned over here, right? Kono kata, sono kata, ano kata, and dono kata. Now hyogen, this is where it gets more interesting. We'll start reading these together, right? You have some expressions that are coming in this conversation, in this lesson. Hyogen are expressions, right? What is the first hyogen? Dozo, you can read it.
So this.
So desu ka? So desu.
So this.
So this.
Hi.
Ah.
So this. So this, you can basically translate it as, yes, that's correct, or that's right. I also like to think of it as, it is so. It's very easy to equate it that way in English because of the sound. Okay? So this. So it's a way of confirming to someone when they have given you, when they have told you some, asked you some information to verify, and you want to tell them, yes, that's correct. So for example, they ask you, Nihongo no gakusei desu ka? Are you a Japanese language student? You can say, Hai, so this.
So desu.
Yes, that's correct. I am that. It is so. It also has a question form, which is what you see in the next expression. Dozo. You can-
So
So
this.
So desu ka?
Hai.
So this.
Hai. So desu ka. So the is basically just oh, right? In English, we say, oh, is it so? Is that right? But it's not actually a question. It is in a question form, yes, but it's basically rhetorical, right? You don't want someone to answer this question. It's just a way of expressing that you have taken in some new information. Oh, I see. Oh, is that so? Really? It's like that. Nobody's going to be like, yes, really, that really is what happened. They understand that you've just taken in the information. So if someone gives you information and you don't know how to react, this is your answer, right? In Japanese, so desu ka? Oh, I see. That's enough. It's a very, very handy expression. So this, when you want to affirm something someone is asking you, and so desu ka, when you just want to give a polite reply to some new information. Hi, dozo, you can read the next one.
Chigaimasu.
Chigaimasu.
Hi. Chigaimasu. Chigaimasu. Chigaimasu is actually a verb. We're not learning verbs in detail just yet. You'll learn about it more in lesson 8, actually. But this is just because it's there in the conversation, you can know about the meaning. Chigaimasu means you're telling that something is different or wrong from what someone has said. For example, someone comes up to you and asks, "Are you a teacher?" "Sensei desu ka?" And you say, "Chigaimasu." "No, you're wrong. It's different. It's not like that. Gakusei desu. I'm a student." So when you want to correct a notion that someone has, you can use chigaimasu. I think everyone will know the next one. Dozo.
Domo
Domo.
arigato
Arigato gozaimasu.
gozaimashita.
Hai. Domo arigato
Gozaimasu.
Gozaimashita.
It's a full expression form, right? Thank you very much, right? Indeed, I am grateful. Thank you very much. So you have two different ways of ending, right? You have either masu or you have mashita.
Mashita.
Mashita is the past form, actually. So usually you say arigato gozaimasu for something someone is yet to do for you or something someone repeatedly does for you. Again and again, they will do that favor for you. So in a workplace, say you work with someone and they always get that job done for you, you can say gozaimasu. But say it's a one-off thing, they have finished doing it for you and you just want to show gratitude for what they have completed. Then the past form is quite natural for Japanese people to use. It's over. You have done your favor for me and I am thankful. And the other three are what we saw during the lesson, right? The new particles. To, mo, and de. So it's okay, right? Hyogen. Are the expressions okay? Now we'll take a look at kotoba also, the words, the vocabulary for this lesson, most of which we just saw during the lesson. So I'm not going to reiterate, but we'll just read it once for practice. Right, Dozo, let's go one by one.
Kochira.
Kochira, of course you have
Konohito.
konohito, which is
Konohito.
actually broken into kono and hito, right? So it's person located near speaker. So kono, so hito of co-quality. It's basically like that. This no is actually no particle, same as what you learned in lesson 1. Who is this person?
Ashoku.
Of course, it's given in English also, but Ashok-san, Mr. Ashok. This is actually an expression you will see in the conversation. So you can make a note of it. Dozo, you can read it.
Onaji.
To onaji.
To
onaji. To onaji. So to over
To
there is like
onaji.
as. Onaji means same. So something to onaji or somebody to onaji means same as something, same as someone. So in the context of the conversation, you will see that Ashok-san is going to be introduced as being from the same company as Miss Devi. So Devi-san to onaji, same as Miss Devi. Okay? So you use it like that. The thing that comes after as in English would come before to in Japanese. This is also a pattern you will see repeatedly. The order of Japanese and English would be inverted. We saw the next word already, but quick review.
Kaisa.
Kaisha-in.
Kaisha-in. Kaisha-in, where kaisha means company and in means
Employee.
employee. Right? It's the suffix for employee. Of course, we also saw these now. Dozo.
Sochira.
Sochira.
Sonohito.
Sonohito.
Son.
And sono. Right? We also saw sono. Sono kata, sonohito. Hi, the question term. Who?
Donata.
Donata. Dare. Donata or dare.
Dare.
Lastly, we have these two. Ano kata,
Ano kata.
which is broken into ano and
Ano kata.
kata. Kata is the polite or respectful term for a person. Lastly, the question term, dono, which is the equivalent, right? Kono, sono, ano, dono. Dono hito, dono kata. After kono, sono, ano, dono, you always have to have a noun, right? That's the rule of kono, sono, ano, dono. Kono plus noun. If you don't add the noun, it is incomplete. Grammatically, it is incomplete. It's standing. There's something missing over there for it to be meaningful. So be sure, if you use the kono, sono, ano form, you have to include whatever noun is appropriate. So far, we've used only hito and kata. So I think it's pretty straightforward. But once you start using nouns, other nouns, like for objects, it might get a little confusing. So be sure to include some noun over there. Now, similar to to onaji, we're seeing another expression here. Dozo.
No,
No,
tonari.
tonari.
No, tonari.
No.
No, tonari.
Hai. Tonari. Ne. No over here is the same no that you saw in lesson 1. Of. Ne. Tonari means beside, adjacent, or next to. So it's like beside of something or someone. So someone no tonari. For example, Raja-san no tonari. Excuse my terrible art. So you have Raja over here, and you have Ashok over here. Raja-san no tonari. Raja-san no tonari. Next to Raja is Ashok. Ne? Ashok-san wa Raja-san no tonari desu. Ashok is next to Raja-san. Who is Ashok? Ashok-san wa dono hito desu ka? When you ask someone, which person is Ashok? You want to tell, right? You want them to tell you in a group of 5 or 6 people, who is Ashok? Then they have to tell you compared to the other people, right? They can't just simply say, that is Ashok. There's like a whole bunch of men standing next to each other. Ashok is the one next to Raja, right? Of course, you can add other things like the one wearing a blue shirt or a cap or something. You'll learn those things later on. But for now, to keep it simple, next to Raja, Raja-san no tonari. Raja-san no tonari. Hai. I think you would have read this name already in the textbook, and we saw it in the slide also. Who is it?
Hayashi.
Hayashi-san, ne? Mr. Hayashi. And we also saw this word on the slide.
Ryogakusei.
Hai. Ryu
Gakusei.
Ryugakusei. Overseas student, foreign exchange student. Ryugakusei. Somebody who's come from abroad. Ryugakusei. It need not only be for an exchange program. It could just be that they're here to do their bachelor's degree or master's degree or something, or to complete their schooling. They're here from another country for the purpose of studies. Ryugakusei. Hai.
Tomodachi.
Tomodachi. Tomodachi is friend. Friend. So when you talk about your friend, my friend, we can say my friend.
Watashi no tomodachi.
Hai. Ne, Raja-san wa watashi no tomodachi desu. Raja is my friend. You can also introduce like that, right? Kochira wa Raja-san desu. This person is Raja. Watashi no tomodachi desu. He is my friend. Now, when you talk about someone else's friend, out of respect, it is common to add o in the beginning of this word. Otomodachi. Tanaka-san no otomodachi. Miss Tanaka's friend. It's just to show respect because it's not your friend, it's someone else's friend. Hai. Now, the last 2 terms are very important. They're new over here. Dozo.
Onna.
Otoko. Onna. Onna means female and otoko means male, right? Sometimes they use it to mean man and woman directly. Hi. It can sound a bit rude if you use just onna and otoko, however. So it's more common to say onna plus no plus hito. Otoko plus no plus hito. So hito, as you know, means person, right? So person of male gender. Person of female gender. It's a bit longer to say, but it's also more polite to say it this way than just saying onna or otoko. It's like saying female, right? It doesn't sound nice. So onna no hito, onna no kata. You can also use kata if you want, of course. Otoko no hito, a man. You want to say a man? Otoko no hito desu. Daijoubu desu ka? Shall we take a look at the conversation? Hi. Conversation in Japanese is? Hi. Can you read it?
Ga-
Ko,
gan-
konwa, ko,
Hi. Sumimasen. Hi.
kane,
I meant this over here on top.
kane,
Ka, kai,
kaine.
kaiba.
Sakaiba, kaiba.
Kaiba. Ne?
kaino.
Kaiba means conversation, right? So
Right.
lesson 2, no? Kaiba. Lesson ni, two, ni no? Kaiba. We're going to read the conversation of lesson 2. What is the title of the conversation?
Donata
Donata
desu ka? Desu ka?
Donata
Desu
desu
Donata desu ka? Who is it, right? So of course, this lesson is going to incorporate what all we saw just now in the grammar part, asking and introducing other people. I'll skip the first box over here. It just illustrates the grammar that you're going to see in the lesson. So it pulls out sentences from the lesson and it highlights all of the new things. It underlines the new things in that lesson, right? So kochira, sochira, achira, mo, to, and de. We've already seen all this on the slide. So you can come back. The point of this first box over here is for review. When you come back at the end of all your studies, when you come back to review CJAT 1 before an exam, it's very useful. If you just flip to a lesson and look at this box, you can see what grammar was covered in that lesson. So if it's okay for you, you may not need to look at it closely. But oh, hey, I don't remember this particle, then you can dive in and take a look. So it's a very helpful thing. Come back to it later for your review. Also, when you come back to each lesson before you do the exercises, it might be helpful to read this box. Similarly, in the next page, you have this, right? Hi, what is it?
Kuma,
What does the title say?
Matome. Matome.
Hi. It's matome, by the way.
Matome.
These two things are brackets.
Brackets.
Hi. It's Japanese brackets. Please don't read it as pu.
Yeah.
Right? It's a bracket. So what goes inside the bracket is what you have to read. Matome.
Matomi.
Matome means summary. So in every conversation, something is happening, right? Those students are talking to each other and there's some event that takes place. In the early lessons, it's nothing much, but as you proceed, more interesting things happen in each conversation. So again, when you come back to review each lesson, sumimasen. Hi. Okay. So when you come back to review the lesson, it's very useful to read the matome part as extra reading practice. So also as a practice, I usually don't read this in class so that you have more reading time at home when you review Japanese. So summary is for you to read on your own. You can try that. Kaiwa, we will read together in class. So I'm not sure what you did in class yesterday. Did each individual read or did you read it as a group?
We did it as a group.
Group.
It is
As a
group.
group.
As
Yeah.
a group.
I thought so because in early lessons, people are still a bit unsure about hiragana and katakana. So I also do it as a group for the first few lessons. So then we can read lesson 2, Kaiwa, as a group. We'll do one sentence at a time. We'll translate as we go. Yes? Hi, dozo. The first speaker, dare desu ka? Who is it? Debbie-san. Ne? What does she say?
Sensei.
Konnichiwa.
Sensei, konnichiwa. Again, very common Japanese culture. The first thing when you see a person that for the first time in a day, always start with greeting. Okay? So sensei, good day, right? She's greeting her. Hey, who is the sensei?
Tanaka-san.
Tanaka-san. What does she say in response?
Konnichiwa.
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 そちらは
そちらは
何ですか
Donata.
Donata desu ka?
Hi. Donata desu ka? Ne? Sochira wa donata desu ka? What is she asking?
Who is that person?
Who is that person?
That person. Now, this sochira, it indicates who is the person near.
Near Devi.
Devi-san.
Devi, right? Here, Tanaka is the speaker and her listener is Devi-san. Sochira indicates a person near Devi who is the listener right now. So that person near you, who is it? Now, when Devi introduces that person, she will use
Kochira wa
Ashok-san desu.
Hai. Kochira wa Ashok-san desu. This person is Ashok. Now, Ashok is coming up and doing his own jiko shokai, self-introduction. What does he say?
Hajime Ashok Dozo
Hi. A typical self-introduction. He's not making a very long sentence, right? In the next sentence, like hajime mashite, he can say watashi wa Ashok desu. But he's leaving out the Ashok part, the watashi part, and just saying Ashok desu. The name is Ashok. I'm Ashok. This is Ashok. It's a very short and simple way. As long as it's obvious that you're talking about yourself, you don't need to say watashi wa. It's the topic has already shifted to Ashok. So now he can just say Ashok desu. This is Ashok here. It's also a very common way to answer the phone, right? When someone answers the phone, they'll say, hi, Ashok desu. This is Ashok here. Dozo yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Please take care of me. Of course, Tanaka-san also has to reciprocate. What does she say?
Ashok-san mo Nihon no gakusei desu ka?
Hi. So now Tanaka-san is asking a question. So she's saying, nice to meet you, hajime mashite. What is she asking?
Is Ashok a Japanese language student?
Exactly. Is Ashok also a Japanese language student? But over here, who is Tanaka asking this question to? Feels like a tricky question. Actually, she's asking Ashok himself. She's directly asking Ashok, but she doesn't use anata. Right? She could ask, anata mo nihongo no gakusei desu ka? Are you also Japanese language student? But she doesn't say anata here. She says his name directly. This is the way Japanese people usually address the person who they're speaking to. Even if you can use you, which is natural for English speakers, they don't use you because it sounds a little rude. Even if he is her student, he may be younger than her, anything. But she wants to be polite, then she wouldn't say anata. You can say the name of that person right to their face and it's not weird in Japanese. It's very, very normal. So she's asking Ashok, Ashok, are you also a Japanese language student? Hi, what does he say?
Hi.
So desu.
Yes, that's correct, right? That's right. It is so. I'm also a Japanese student. Eh? So this. And then he says,
Devi-san to onaji kaisha desu.
Hi. Devi-san to onaji kaisha desu. What does it mean? Exactly. Same company as Miss Devi. I work. I mean, he's not saying all of those extra things. In English, we make full sentences, right? I work in the same company as Devi. But here, it's more than enough for him to just say, Devi-san to onaji kaisha desu. Same company as Miss Devi. Same company as Miss Devi. So kaisha is company. It's attached to Devi-san to onaji. So onaji is same. What is the same? Kaisha is the same. Of whom is it the same? That is Miss Devi. So you're attaching to that person. It's a fixed expression. You can just learn it as it is. So Tanaka-san, polite response. What does she say?
そうですか。
そうですか。
So desu ka? Oh, I see.
I see.
Now Ashok-san is new, right? He's a new kid in the block. Devi-san is going to help him figure out something. What does he ask?
Devi-san.
あの旗
どなた
ですか。
Excellent. What is he, Ashok-san asking Miss Devi?
Who is that person?
Who is that person
Exactly.
over there?
Over there, right? So where is this person located?
Far from
Away
both
from
of
both
them.
the
Far from both of them, right? This person who he is asking about is neither near Ashok nor near Devi, somewhere far away. That person over there, who is that? But Devi has a problem. She doesn't know who he's talking about. What does she ask?
どの旗
ど
ですか。
の方ですか？
ですか？どの方ですか？
What does she ask?
ですか。
どの方ですか? What does it mean?
Which person?
Which? どの
Which person?
Which
Who do you
person?
mean? Who do you mean? Which person? Now, Ashok-san goes through some trouble to explain their location. Dozo.
田中
田中先生の隣の
男
男の
人です。
男の
人
です。はい。It's a little bit long, so let's take it slowly ね。田中先生の隣の男の人です。What do you think it means? What is 男の人? 男, we saw it. Yes, yes.
男の人。
男の人 means
Yes.
polite way of male asking.
A male person, right?
Yes.
Hito is person, otoko is male.
Male.
Otoko no hito, man, right? So the man who is, did you remember what tonari is?
Beside, nearby.
Beside or next to, right?
Next to that.
So the man next to whom?
Tanaka sensei.
So Tanaka sensei is beside the person of that position. Okay? Tanaka sensei is beside. It sounds weird in English, but you actually have to come backwards when you're working it out. So the man to the side of Miss Tanaka, okay? Or Tanaka sensei. Tanaka sensei no tonari no otoko no hito. Okay ですか? Is it okay? はい。
はい。
Now, Devi-san very politely explains who is that person. はい、どうぞ。
あの方は林さんで田中先生のお友達です。
友達ですね。あの方は林さんで、田中先生のお友達です。What does it mean?
That over there is Mr. Hayashi.
はい。
He,
And
and
Tanaka-san's friend.
Tanaka sensei's friend.
Friend, right? Exactly. あの方, that person over there is Hayashi-san. That person is Mr. Hayashi, and it's Tanaka sensei's friend, right? He's Miss Tanaka's otomodachi, ne? Showing respect. Because Tanaka is sensei to Devi, she will be respectful about Tanaka's friends. Over here, if you remember, Ashok also asked anokata, and Devi is also using anokata, okay? Because the person is far away from both of them. Hi. Ashok-san says, or he has another question. 何ですか?
あの方も日本語の先生ですか？
先生ですか?
What's he asking?
Is
Is that person over there is a Japanese language teacher?
Exactly. Is that person also a Japanese language teacher? あの方も日本語の先生ですか? What does Debi-san say?
いいえ、
いいえ、
いいえ。
違います。
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 留
And then?
学です。
り、
留
学生です。
です。ね So Debi-san says,
学生です。
違います。
そうです。
You're wrong. It's different. He's not a teacher. 違います。What you said is not
いい
so.
え。
留学生です。He's a foreign student. He's he's an overseas student. What does Ashok-san say at the end?
そうですか。
そう
I
です。
see.
そうですか。
そうですか。Oh, I see. And then he says,
どうも
どうもありが
あり
ありがとう
ございます。
ございま
ございま
した。
した。
Hi. Thank you so much, right? He's been asking a lot of questions and Devi has been very patiently answering all of them. So of course, he's going to express his gratitude. Oh, I see. Thank you so much. ありがとうございました. So over here, just one thing I wanted to point out in the previous sentence. Again, Debi-san doesn't say Suzuki-san wa, Hayashi-san wa ryugakusei desu. The Hayashi-san part is left out of the sentence, right? Because they're discussing the same person again and again. She doesn't need to keep saying ano kata wa or Hayashi-san wa. She can directly just give the second part of the sentence, the B part. 留学生です。はい、お疲れ様でした。大丈夫ですか?
はい、先生。
はい。
大丈夫です。
はい。Was this conversation okay? Any questions or doubts?
いいえ。
はい、OK ですか? はい。So if you're good, then there's only one thing I have to just show you how to find the lesson exercises online so that you can try them typing it out at home, right? So you would have received this Zoom instructions, right? How to register on Zoom when you just joined. So you basically follow more or less the same steps. You log in, you select classes, and then go into view for your batch, which is batch 202, right? And in this place, instead of selecting interactive, you're going to do something else. Hi. So this first banner is what expands and looks like this, right? You have all of this. But instead of the first banner, if you look below, there are other banners. You can actually collapse it and make it smaller, and you will see a bunch of other banners. So in that, you have the class presentation banner where you can find the PPT, PDF files of the PPTs that we use in class. It's for your review or studies later on. You also have this extra media, right? That is the CD materials, right? Apart from that, later on, when you have kanji, you will have some videos here. The last one is called exercise. So each lesson is divided into its own page. You can click on that, and then you would be able to open and attempt the exercises from each lesson over here. So now that we've finished lessons 1 and 2, you can attempt for both lessons during the course of this week, and then Padma Sensei will be able to take a look at your attempt. There's one other thing I wanted to show. I'll just show you what it looks like when you open it up. It's no surprise. Anyway, the questions are there in your textbook. So this is actually something attended by a student. So the platform would look like this. This is the teacher's view. So you won't have the correct answer right away. You would be asked the question and you will have to type your answer in here, right? You would have to type it in and enter and submit. You would have a bunch of questions in each exercise. After you submit it, you will be able to view. It's actually automatically scored, but the auto scoring has a few issues. For example, if the spaces are different in what the student submits, then it doesn't match this exactly. It will mark it as 0. That's what will be reviewed by the teacher manually. So the teacher will look at it. Your sensei will change it and give you the mark if what you have entered is correct. But grammatically, it should be correct. Never mind the spaces and all. If the grammar is okay, the mark will be given to you. But so don't mind the auto scoring immediately. What you can do is you can compare your answer with the correct answer and see if the content is correct. Sometimes there are ways to answer a sentence or write a sentence in more than one way. So in those cases, again, you can, mostly the sensei will notice that and give you the score if it's still correct. So after correction is done, you can of course ask her if there's any issue, or you can get in touch with sensei via Google Classroom. Hi. Is it okay? Daijoubu desu ka?
Hi, Sensei.
Great. So we do have just a few minutes, so I thought what we could do is take a quick look at lesson 2. You have exercises. I wanted to very quickly just give you an idea of what is expected, and I thought we could do a couple of exercises together in class. Yes. So in this exercise, translate the following sentences into Japanese using the words that we just learned, right? Kochira, sochira, achira.
Achira.
As I mentioned earlier, please don't take it too literally. What's given here in English, you don't need to add new words for this. If it says over there, it's a way of us to indicate that you
Achira.
should use
Achira.
achira. Near you, you should use
Kochira.
Kochira.
Like Sochira.
Sochira.
sochira. Ne.
Yeah.
When the speaker says you, they're talking about the listener. So it should be sochira. So let's just quickly try to write the answer for this. How would you introduce? That person over there is Miss Baby.
Achira
Achira.
wa
Devi-san desu.
Baby-san desu.
Hi, achira wa baby-san.
Yes.
If you already know how to type, this shouldn't be an issue, but please do be careful that you change hiragana to katakana correctly in just the right place. Sometimes it happens that you, like for baby-san, you leave it in hiragana when it actually should be in katakana, or you change the whole thing into katakana. So you have to be careful. San has to be hiragana, but baby has to be katakana. Things like that, you should double check after you type your answer. Hi, what about this one? Asking first the question, who is that person near you?
Achira wa
Chira wa
Hi,
Sochira wa
sochira wa.
donata desu ka?
Hi, donata desu ka? Of course, you can also ask.
Dare desu ka?
Dare desu ka?
Hi, both are correct, no problem. Sochira wa donata desu ka? Sochira wa dare desu ka? In place of sochira, of course, you can also use, what can we say?
Kono hito. Sono hito wa
Sono hito or
sono hata.
Sono kata.
kata. So all of these, as I said, the answer, the system will have an answer in mind. But if you give something equivalent that is still correct, then you will still get the score that is after manual review, it will be given to you. So don't worry, as long as you get it correct. So sochira wa donata desu ka? What would the answer be? This is Mr. Ashok. How can we answer?
So,
Sorry. Sochira wa.
Now,
Sorry,
the question,
Kochira. Kochira wa.
um,
Kochira wa Ashok-san desu.
Ashok-san desu.
so the questioner is asking sochira, then the answer, the person giving the answer should say
Kochira.
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 Kochira wa
Ashok-san desu.
Ashok-san desu.
kochira wa Ashok-san. This person is Mr. Ashok. So this is okay, right? You have to think a little bit about which term to use. Now, there was also a tricky question in the next exercise, so I thought we could do one really quickly in class. You have to use mo in this sentence. So what you're saying here is, that woman over there is my teacher. That man over there is my teacher too. Let's start with the first one. How do you say woman?
Onna no hito.
Onna no hito. Now, how do you make it? That woman over there.
Achira wa
Now, onna no hito will be considered a noun, right? So if you want to attach kosoado terms to nouns, you can use instead of kochira, sochira, achira, we saw another option, right?
Ano.
はい。
ano hito. Ano.
Exactly. Kono, sono, ano, dono can be attached to nouns. So you can say, ano, onna no hito. Now, how can we finish the sentence?
Ano
No, ito.
onna no hito
Is my teacher.
wa
The wa
Sensei.
sensei.
what
My teacher.
watashi no sensei desu.
Exactly. That
私の
woman.
先生
Ne, ano, onna no hito. Ne, that woman wa watashi no sensei desu. Is my
先生
teacher.
です
Now, similarly, that man is my teacher. How do we make just the basic part?
あの
o-
あの
Ano
まあ
oto
男人
otoko no
男の人は
wa wat
私の
watashi no sensei mo.
This.
they
Now, if you want to add the meaning of to or also, that is mo, how do you change it? What do you have to change?
あの女の人も
To mo.
Ano
An.
Yes. You're replacing wa with mo in the second sentence, right? So, ano onna no hito wa watashi no sensei desu. That woman is my teacher. Ano otoko no hito mo watashi no sensei desu. That man also is my teacher. So, although in English we're putting the to at the end of the sentence, you have to think in the Japanese structure that you learned, right? So, mo, what is applying to the, again, what is being re-spoken, right? What category is being added to? The person being added is what you attach mo to. So, sensei is the same for both. Otoko no hito mo getting included in that group or category. Is it okay? Daijoubu desu ka?
Nice.
hai.
Hi. And lastly, I don't want to do all of them. I just want to do one as a sample because it's easy to make mistakes. You're supposed to introduce this person and say that they are this, right? So how would you make a basic sentence? Just say that so-and-so person is this profession.
こちらは
Mhm.
山田。
Yamada
こち
san.
らはこちらは山田さん。
山田さんです
学生です。
です。
山田さんです学生です
はい。学生です。Now, if you introduce them, you would do the full sentence. Actually, for this exercise, you don't have to do the first part. You don't have to say the kochira part. You can directly just say, this
Yamada-
person is, yes,
山田さんは学生です
exactly. Yamada san wa 学生
学
です。
生です。
Be sure to complete your sentences, however, right? So, Yamada-san wa gakusei desu with full stop, right? You're making a full sentence over here. You're saying this person is of this profession or this occupation. So, Mr. Yamada is a student. Daijoubu desu ka? Is it okay?
Nice.
はい
Any questions before we wrap up? Sorry, it's a few minutes over time, but I wanted to quickly show the examples.
Yes,
Any
Sensei, I have a question.
Hi, dozo.
The question may sound silly, but I will ask it. I see the pronunciation for hiragana and katakana are similar, right? So I don't understand the reason why we have katakana, because katakana is used for foreign languages, right?
Right.
We can also write them in hiragana since the pronunciation is same.
The main useful aspect about katakana is that, so you might have noticed, Japanese basically has very, very few sounds. The total number of sounds in Japanese is extremely few compared to most languages. It's like less than 100 sounds. So the same sounds tend to repeat again and again, and it becomes a little unclear for people whether you're saying a foreign word or a Japanese word because they use the same sounds for both. Just because they're speaking English doesn't mean it sounds like English. It still sounds like Japanese when a Japanese person speaks. So katakana in writing, katakana helps distinguish whether the word they have written is a Japanese word or a foreign word. It may actually seem, there may be a Japanese word that sounds the same. So using katakana will tell you that it's not Japanese, it's a foreign word. So that's one of its main advantages. Katakana is used for a few other things. It's kind of like italics or boldface in English. They use it whenever they want something to pop out in the eyes of the reader. So if you read manga, right, the comic books of anime, the sound effects are also written in katakana in many places. It's kind of to show that it's popping out. And onomatopoeic words are also written in katakana because it pops out. Onomatopoeia is when you represent a sound in writing, like boom or wham and things like that. So that's what, those are some of the reasons.
Okay, thank you.
It's a good question. Any other
Sensei?
questions? Hi, dozo.
What is the meaning of desu? Every time
So desu, actually desu is a polite way of ending a sentence, basically. It's like in the sentence, I am Anuja, right? Watashi wa Anuja desu. The am in English, where the thing that gives the meaning of indicating the state of something, desu has that function in Japanese. So it has two functions. One, to indicate the state of something, and two, to indicate politeness. So watashi wa Anuja desu. I am Anuja, and I'm saying it in a polite way. There is also a plain way of saying, that is a casual way of saying the same thing. You'll learn about it a bit later on.
Sensei, I have one more question.
Hi.
Sensei, as we write in Japanese, for example, sensei, we pronounce E at the end as A. Sensei told us in the very beginning class.
Hi.
But I want to understand there are many so words in Japanese like this. So how can we practice if someone speaks and we comprehend if we listen them first time? Because sensei, we are used to it. There could be many words, new words that would come. And how can we then distinguish them?
In the case of sensei, what's actually happening is that vowel elongation, right? The vowel A sound is being dragged up. Basically, anytime, I'll just share my screen. It's easier to type it and show it. So if we type sensei in hiragana like this, anytime an A sound hiragana is followed by hiragana E, actually the function of that E, it's not an E sound at all. It's to make this A sound longer. So anytime it happens, it's not just in the word sensei, but any other word where you see that pattern, it has the same function. So you just have to remember the pattern. Like for example, toke. So again, you have an A sound hiragana. K is the A sound. It's followed by E sound. Then this E does not have the meaning of E at all. It loses its meaning, and its new function is to elongate the previous sound. So whenever you see that pattern, you can apply it. It's not like you have to remember it for each word. Anytime you see that pattern in a word, E is following after an A sound, this pattern can be applied.
And if you can provide another pattern, like it means apart from A, are there anyone besides?
The only other one that works like that a little bit is O sound.
Right.
So A, we elongate A sound with E hiragana when we write in hiragana. Similarly, O sound, right? Kori. Sorry, change it to, yes. So kori, this O is actually elongating this O here. Here we're using O, so it's very simple. But there are some words like oto-san, the word for father, right?
Right.
This O is actually lengthened with U sound.
Ooh, yes.
Now, in this case, what I told about A, it's always like that. It's mostly 100% rule. There are very, very few exceptions. One exception is one-san, but otherwise you don't have exceptions. This is the only exception, but no other exception. Whereas in the case of O, there are many cases for both types. In that case, you have to memorize. There's no other way. It's like learning the spelling of a word in English, right? A lot of times English spellings don't make sense, but
Yes,
we just
yes.
have to memorize. So in this case, elongating with O, sometimes it's done with U, sometimes it's done with O. When you learn the word, just memorize its spelling. If it's easier for you, you can write it out in your mother tongue or in English. Like this, you can learn it. You can type it or write it down and remember, but the sound should be elongated O sound.
Right.
There's no other way. Unfortunately, that pattern is a little harder to predict. So you have to memorize it. The A sound one is like 99% of the time, it's always the same.
Thank you very much. Arigatou gozaimasu, Sensei.
No problem.
This was very doubting.
I understand. It can be a little difficult when you get started.
Yes.
It's
Thank
just as you learn vocabulary, you can pick it up.
Arigatou.
はい、いえ、とんでもないです。No problem. どういたしまして。Any other questions? 大丈夫ですか？はい。Great. So if there are no other questions, we can wrap up with this. I'm sorry, it's a little bit over time, but I'm glad everyone stayed back, and I hope your enthusiasm is still strong. I'm happy that I got to interact with everyone. This is a very rare thing for us, substituting for a teacher. It's very fun to be with a new batch, even if it's just for a short time. So it's been very nice. Everyone's been so interactive. So thank you for making this a fun session for me. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Japanese journey. ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
はい、ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
はい、Have a great week.
Thank you.
Thanks. You too.
はい、ありがとうございます。